Hey guys, TechMentor with the video for you guys. In today's video, we're going to talk about the iPhone 11 going into 2024, if it's still worth it, whether you're using it, thinking about buying it, or even upgrading from it. Everything that you need to know about the iPhone 11, we're going to discuss in this video. So let's dive right into it. Now, the iPhone 11 was released back in September of 2019. That's a little over 4-year phone, and this year it's going to make 5 years, which is a big milestone for any iPhone, since most iPhones will get updated up to 5 years or so. Now, just looking at this phone, it's an awesome phone, amazing choice of colors that you can get it from. This is a 6.1-inch display iPhone, which has a liquid retina, aluminum and glass build. As you can see here, the rounded edges, the glass on the back here, two 12 megapixel camera on the back. You have the nice design. This is a product red one. Like I said, you can get it in multiple colors. Now, originally when it came out, it started at $699 for 64 gig, $749 for 128 gig, and $849 for the 256 gig. Now, Apple doesn't sell this any longer. If you're buying it, most likely from a carrier or pre-owned from Amazon, which you can get under $200, which I'll leave a link for if you're checking this phone out. Now, the price, of course, is fraction of what you would pay back in 2019 when it originally came out. Now, the phone is still pretty awesome in a sense because it does have the A13 Bionic chip with 4 gigs of RAM. Now, that's a lot of power for even now when you're starting to use this phone compared to the A16 chip that's now on the iPhone 15, which is a comparable model on the latest iPhone version here. Now, when it comes to things like the battery here, it does have a pretty decent sized battery. If you would say, it does have a 3110 mAh battery, which gives you about 17 hours of video playback. Now, of course, that means the battery has to be at 100% capacity. Now, if you compare it to the iPhone 15, the regular model, that gives you about 20 hours of video playback. 17 versus is 20. Again, not too much of a difference here, but if you're somewhere from a medium user, you can pretty much get the whole day with the full charger battery. Now, if you're on the heavier end, you may need to charge at least once during the day for you to get through the day. Now, other thing to consider about this phone is going to be your camera here. As we mentioned, the camera, 212 megapixel on the camera on the back. Front has a 12 megapixel camera. So when it comes to photo, you will be able to take some good photo. And even when it comes to things like portrait mode, as you can see here, you can use all these filters. Even when it comes to video recording, it can actually record 4K in 60 frames per second, so you're not missing too much. The only thing about this model is because it is considered the cheaper model in that sense, it just has two 12 megapixel camera, but nonetheless these cameras are fantastic because they're 12 megapixel camera compared to the newer iPhone that have 48 megapixel main camera if you're looking at the Pro model. But again, this isn't the Pro one, unlike the iPhone 11 Pro and the Pro 11 Pro Max. This is just a regular 11 itself, which is in the Pro lineup itself. Now, originally, the other thing we're going to talk about is the software on this iPhone. So it did come originally with iOS 13. Now it does get iOS 17, so you can upgrade to iOS 17. And the other thing about this phone is most likely it'll get iOS 18, which will come out probably around later this year because it's going to make the 5-year mark, and that might be the last iOS version. So this year you're going to still be supported, and the reason why that matters is that with iOS 17 you can take advantage of all these features that are available, but even more so is your apps. Pretty much most of the apps, if not all of the apps, will work because iOS 17 is the latest version. As you can see here, I can use pretty much any app I need to, whether it's come from shopping, from gaming. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the gaming. So this phone does have an A13 Bionic chip with 4 gigs of RAM. So you're going to be able to game, but consider maybe games that aren't supposed to be played on the console, like more of the light graphic gaming, you'll be able to do fine. But when you start getting into heavy graphic gaming, probably not a choice that you want to go with. Things around social media, you can see most of the popular apps will work, even video streaming and music streaming, things like Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, all of that and everything will work without any issues on this iPhone. Even for a productivity tool, you can do anything with it. Now, of course, the basic things like calling and texting, it will excel at that without any issues. So if you're worried about that, this phone at the bare minimum will get you done if you're just looking for a phone that does that here. But aside that, it will do everything else, and if not even more compared to the iPhone 15 lineup. Now, which brings us to the question, is the iPhone 11 first of all worth it in 2024? Absolutely, it's still worth it if you're using it and you don't want to spend another extra maybe $700-800 for the 15 model here. You can still go with the 11 if you're not looking for all the fancy little upgrades. Now, one thing this phone is missing is 5G support, so you can only do 4G. Unfortunately, 5G started with the iPhone 12 and later. But the one thing about this iPhone 11 is that it has a physical SIM card for the US model. As you know, starting with iPhone 14 or newer, there is no physical SIM card on the US model, which means that if you're looking for to travel or switch out your SIM card a lot, you can't do that without adding an eSIM card. Now, eSIM card works pretty well for most companies, but there are limited companies that don't support eSIM yet. Those are the smaller carrier. If you think about those, most likely there will be limited selection, but that's one plus for the iPhone 11 here. So it's a cost-effective phone, definitely, with pretty much something. If you're looking for performance, it's without paying a lot. The iPhone 11, if you think about buying it again on Amazon, you can probably get it for around less than $200 or so. And now if you think about upgrading to it, if you think about upgrading and you want to be more cost efficient, you could probably think about the iPhone 12, even the iPhone 13 would be a good choice, and even the 14, which Apple sells if you're not getting for the Pro lineup here. But in our review, I think the 11 is definitely still worth it for this year, maybe even a little bit into the next year as well. Want to hear from you guys. What's your thought on the iPhone 11? If you guys used it, upgraded from it, or think about buying it, leave it in the comment section. We'd love to hear what you guys have to say. And if you guys enjoyed this kind of video and more videos like this we'll do in the future, make sure that like and subscribe button for more tips, tricks, and reviews like this. See you guys next time.